Hi, I'm Dr. Maura McGill and I'm an expert in natural hormone treatments. And today I want to deal with questions about the weight gain in menopause. Of course, it's traditional that women get a middle-age spread, and unfortunately it all happens around the middle. They tend not to get any heavier legs than they've always had, or perhaps slightly bigger bottom, but they certainly get a big middle-age spread around the stomach. Now, I need to tell you something that is my own theory, and I think this works out very well in practice. There is no difference, essentially, between our DNA and the DNA of cavemen 40,000 years ago. In terms of the life cycle of DNA, we have not evolved tremendously from Neanderthal man that was just roaming the hillsides as a nomadic tribe where food was scarce. And your DNA has got used to that scenario, not the Western diet scenario. And if you think back, in the caveman days, they only had a few wild fruits and wild vegetables, and they had a kill of a deer or a rabbit or something here and there, maybe big food for the tribe only every 2 or 3 days, and the rest of the time it was simple vegetables and fruit. There were no crops, so there was no rice, there were no wheat, oats or barley, there were no heavy carbs such as we've become used to. Certainly in primitive countries you will see women pounding primitive carbohydrates like root vegetables like taro and various other ones in Africa, but they have a completely different GI makeup and they are not an everyday food. Your DNA knows that when your hormones drop away, that you are going to be like caveman times, on the last person to be fed. The queue, you'll be the last in the queue to be fed. The food, when it's scarce, has to be kept for the hunters and the warriors, that's the men, the pregnant women, the children, and then the young women who can still get pregnant. But the young, older women who can no longer get pregnant, there is no biological imperative in feeding them. So to provide for their ongoing survival, the DNA says your food requirements will drop when your hormones drop. And then when you drop your hormones down into menopause, your food requirements drop down to 1/3 or 1/4 of their previous amounts. Now, if you live in a Western society and you have 3 meals a day, you are eating like a 30-year-old. You may still be eating like that when you're 40. But if you're still eating like that when you're 50, you are definitely going to gain weight. In fact, just standing still and doing no exercise, you'll gain 5 times as much weight. But I have women who go to personal trainers, they go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, they try and diet with all the standard diets that are around the place, Weight Watchers and Light and Easy and all the various diets that you see. But the truth is, none of them take their volume down to what the cavemen required of the older woman. Older women sat around the campfire while everyone was getting fed and they got the scraps. If you don't reduce your intake severely and particularly limit your intake about those complex carbohydrates, you're going to gain weight. You are probably sensitive to modern manufactured foods. Packet foods and manufactured foods are designed to make us hungry. They have stuff in them that is so appetizing that they are designed to make us buy more. You find people going through supermarkets with their trolleys. They are full of packet foods. They're not full of real food. They're full of packet foods. If you want real food, you go to where the meat and the fruit and the vegetables are, and you stay away from the packaging. Your portion size is crucial, and you need to be controlled about getting rid of the carbohydrates. But I should mention bloating. Bloating is not weight gain. You can be as thin as a reed and have bloating, and you think you're fat, but you're not. It's actual swelling of the gut. And usually in those circumstances, your gut will swell because of some sensitivity to what you're eating. The 2 most important triggers for bloating are wheat, that is gluten, dairy. And it's very difficult to get rid of both gluten and dairy. But in order to cope with bloating, you need to trial off dairy and trial off gluten. A third thing that's important is you may have a malfunction in your gut, and that needs to be investigated by your doctor. Some of the gut malfunctions that occur at menopausal time are not in fact to do with your weight gain, they're to do with bloating, and some of them can be quite serious, so you need to see your doctor for investigations of your gut. And just a final word about menopausal bloating in relation to Candida. Candida is a big cause of bloating in all age groups, but menopausal women don't think of it. Candida, they think, is about vaginal thrush, but you can have Candida in your gut that will cause you to make gas and blow up and blow up and blow up. And sometimes you don't necessarily pass that gas, therefore you don't register it as gas. But that gas is there because of the Candida. It is well worthwhile considering having a stool sample test to see if you have Candida. If you want any more information on weight gain in menopausal times, then go to fixwomenshealth.com and click on the menopause button.